Krishna Hare Hare. Rama Rama Hare Hare. So yeah, like I first of all, yeah, I welcome all of you again to this week's session. So week after week, I'm just trying to help myself and help all of you to come, one step closer to Krishna as well as one step away from Maya. Also helping ourselves with the day-to-day problems that we are dealing with. So today we'll deal with the problem that we usually have, that is fear or anxiety. So Krishna, when he was instructing Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, like 16th chapter, when he's stating, so he starts with the word by saying Abhayam. So Abhayam Sattva Samsuddhi. So Samshuddhi. So one of the divine qualities any spiritual warrior in general should have is Abhayam, that is fearlessness. And we are going to discuss this quality which we all need to possess in general. See, we all want to be successful in our life. So if we want to be successful in our life, even in the little things that we do, we have to become like little bit fearless. We have to get above this phase of anxiety and not allow that stress to just deliberately enter into our lives and just ruin our lives. So we will discuss about why exactly the fear enters in our life. It's, fear is not something that is inherent in us. A baby, when the baby is born, the baby is not fearful. Baby is definitely fearful of the fearful of the miserable conditions in the stomach, but definitely the baby is not fearful of the world around. So when the baby comes out, the baby is so happy. Initially the baby cries because the baby struggled so much in the stomach, but when the baby comes out, the love and care the little baby gets, the baby forgets everything. And then it's fearless. You see any kid in the arms of the mother, you see they're fearless. So they know that my mama is there, my papa is there, so they don't have fear. But gradually, slowly, as we grow up, we kind of learn this fear. And because of the circumstances around us, because of the situations we are put into, and because of the way we deal with things. Yeah, in general, if you see in school, college, they teach us so many things, but they don't teach us the basic principle of how to actually get over simple inhibitions like fear. So but if you see the Vedic scriptures, like the more and more we take shelter of these Vedic scriptures, the more and more we become fearless, like without our own knowledge. So this is, I'm speaking with the experience. And definitely our goal in life is not to be fearless. Our goal in life to love Krishna, at the end of the day, go back to Krishna and live happily over there. But we need to know that how, there are different fears in this world, and how to tackle the fear, and how gradually become fearless in such a way, taking shelter of the scriptures, gradually become fearless, that at one point of time, I want all of us, including myself, to become so fearless that nothing in the world, nothing that comes in our life will stop affecting us. We are so we have become so bold enough that whatever that comes in our life, we take it so positively that we get over it, just like just like of how a flower blooms so beautifully, like that we just get over it. So yeah, this is the aim of this session. So like how I said, it's not like a magic that, yeah, it's not like a one or zero thing. Okay, you are zero now, you're fearful, and just next moment you become fearless. But this is something gradual, but it is something very very eternal. So once you attain that fearless stage, so it like remains with you forever. So, like you are all would have heard that there are so many fears. Like few people, they have hear of the fear of bathing, fear of that is called as ablutophobia. Even like I was in shock knowing that people have fear of bathing. Like most probably the college students and even the working professionals who don't have time for anything, so they might have all this fear of bathing. And claustrophobic, so many of us are like, when we are stuck in between so much of crowd, so we feel so frustrated and we just want to get out. And few people have fear of water, they cannot get into the water. Few people have, you know, fear of the major thing that we all have in general is fear of death. So like one or the other point of time, we see that people are dying, we see that, you know, no matter what, the death cannot be stopped, and then yeah, we at once we have that fear of death. And then, you know, there are other kinds of fear, like fear of public speaking, fear of flying, and so many things. So it is said that, you know, I was you know, surprising to know that the statistics say that the 60% of the worries that people have, basically the fears that they have, is actually that based because of the things that never happen. You know, 65% is we are worrying about things that never happen, and 12% of the things, you know, some we are fearing about some useless past events. Oh, this happened, maybe this will happen, like that. Because of our past events we are judging. Oh, because we have gone through it, so now again we are thinking, yes, it'll come, it'll come, it'll come, like that. And 13% is because of the people it's caused by the people we cannot change. You know, we all have people in our life whom we cannot change at all. They somehow or the other give us trouble, and you know, we need to just deal you know, we need to fix our internal thing to handle them and not go to change them. Because it's like in you know, in there is a quote called as, a dog's tail is always, you know, tilted, it cannot be made straight. Similarly, some people, they cannot be changed at all. You know, I'm pretty sure we all have experience of such people. And finally, you know, there is 6%, I mean 6%, which is caused by event which is beyond our control. Like you see some like some plane crash that is happening, some tsunami, some volcano, some earthquake, which is not in our control, but when we face it, we get that fear. And the the actual fear, you know, which is really that is there, that is just 4%. You know, so you can imagine how much our mind is just faking us, and then giving us, you know, making, you know, things around us work in such a way that we become fearful of this whole world. Day in day out, we work in anxiety and we stay stressful. So like in Srimad Bhagavatam, actually there is a shloka that says that Prayena alpa ayusha sabya kalo asmin yuge manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya upadruta. So the shloka actually says that what are the symptoms of Kali Yuga? So Kali Yuga people have a shorter lifespan, because you see, like how much it was earlier, it was 1,800 years, and now hardly we find anybody living 1,800 years. So it is shorter lifespan, that is prayana alpa ayusha. And then manda sumanda matayo, less intelligence. You know, we hardly remember phone numbers also, what to speak about, you know. People used to earlier remember four Vedas, like the Rig Veda, Samveda, Atharva Veda, Yajurveda. They used to remember this whole Veda like by heart. You know, they used to know the meaning, the purport, the shlokas, and everything. For us, it's so hard to even remember our near and dear ones' birthdays or remember the phone numbers. That, you know, manda sumanda mataya, that less intelligent we are. And the next thing is they're misguided. And finally, upadruta means they're always disturbed, always in anxiety. So if at all we face ourselves always in anxiety, so you should tell yourself that, hey, I'm not the only one. This is the you know, the what do you say, the actual qualification of this Kali Yuga in where I've born. So I can't help, you know, but undergo this anxiety. But what I can do, taking shelter of these scriptures to come out of this anxiety, is what we have to, you know, how we deal with our own anxiety is what we have to actually learn. So this is the problem. Like fear is actually because of the you know, our stupid mind, our you know, crazy mind. Because in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's also described that mind is the best of the friends. In Bhagavad Gita, it's described that mind is the best of the friends as well as it's the worst of the enemy. So you see, like mind, it always, you know, if we don't have something, we will hanker over it. If we already have something, you know, we'll greed for more. And we will fear, oh, when will I lose it, when will I lose it, when will I lose it, like that. And if we don't have something, we'll just crave for it. Oh, when will I get it, when will I get it. So some example from the scriptures is that there was a king, this I used to I read it recently in the Shrimad Bhagavatam. There was a king, Anga. He wanted a child, and he did lot of tapasya, and finally he got a child. But the child was a demoniac child, and the child it gave a lot of trouble to the society, a whole kingdom. And then he was like fed up with that child. Now you see, like he got the child, but he was fed up. And then there was Chitraketu Maharaj. He wanted a child, but he married, like he married thousands of wives, but even then he couldn't get 1 crore wives. It is mentioned that 1 crore wives he married because he wanted one child for the inheritance, but he didn't get any child. So it is like this, like either we see like people who have excess, that they cannot know, they don't know what to do with the things, and they throw things. Like you see, we always often see these things in our day to day life, where we see that one family is throwing the extra food, and another person is like he's thin and he's weak, and he doesn't even have one morsel of food to eat. This is what actually, the Kali Yuga is like people, they don't want to give, they're okay to throw, but they don't want to give. It's like that. And the world has been made like that. Whoever you are, you want to have something, and you, whatever you don't have, you want to have something. That is what the advertisements are all about. And uh, like um, like this, our minds always cheat us. So first thing we should know is our mind, it can be our friend or it can be our enemy, the way we decide it. So now we will see slowly how, we can shape our mind, how the mind can trick you. Again, I want to tell you one beautiful story. It's from the it's basically a movie based story. So it's not like a story that is shown in the movie. Actually, they made a movie. It was somewhere in the they made a movie in the desert area. Basically, the whole movie was shot in the desert area. And then this movie was being shown in the Canada. When they actually like telecasted this movie, like in the theaters. So it was the coldest time of the year, and when they were in the movie theater is cold. But because people are watching, the movie, which is like done in the in the what do you say, um deserted area, people in the intervals, instead of buying popcorns, they used to go and buy ice creams. This is how our mind can cheat us. Even though the outside environment is cold, even though the inside environment is cold, because we are watching something that is, as hot as desert, we are craving for something like ice creams. This is what, this is how wicked and wretched our mind is. And finally, mind, why am I speaking so much about mind, is that this is the same mind, that can uh, that can cause so much of fear unnecessarily. So I'm just trying to make you understand that whenever some fear is caused, which is like, the first thing you need to ask is, yeah, I mean, is this fear real? That is the basic question we need to ask ourselves. Because mind is like crazy. Like I can give you some examples wherein mind, it caused people to die also. Like for example, there was a man who was sitting under the like I heard the story wherein a man who was actually, he was just sitting under the tree, and he was doing his resting or doing his work or something like that. And then like uh, he got bitten by a rat. Okay, just a rat came and it bit him, and he was just, he didn't notice it. And suddenly he felt that pain. And when he saw the bite, next to him was a snake lying. The snake was just passing. And he thought that, oh my god, this snake has bit me. And in that fear, that snake has bit him, he just, because in that shock, he just quit his body. You can imagine, the mind is so crazy. What bit him was just a rat, but because he saw the snake, he thought that snake bit him, and he's just no more. This is again a real story that had happened. And then one of the Maharaj Sachinandan Maharaj, he narrates story about his father's friend. He was actually working in a railway company. What he was doing is that he was all these, in the railway companies, there'll be a bogie where they'll store the vegetables and fruits in the fridge, deep freeze, like that. So once what happened, evening, around 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, when he was there, in the when he went to fetch some fruits or vegetables or something like that, somebody thought that it's just like that, it's open, and they just locked it. And then this person, he knew that that place is like a very cold place, and nobody can stay there for more than 7 hours. If somebody is there for more than 7 hours, they'll die because of the cold. So after like within like couple of hours, because of the cold, he just passed away. And then it is said that morning they were, like, when they found him dead, they were in shock, because they realized that he died not because of the cold, because from the past 12 hours there was no electricity working in that uh, part of the railways. So he didn't die because of the cold, but he died because of his own mind. He thought that, oh, it's cold, oh, it's, I'm freezing to death, like that. So this is how our mind is. This is how crazy our mind is. So what killed him is not the cold, but it's is imagination. So our imagination, we have to, whenever we get a fear and get some imagination, we have to crack back and think that, is this real, is this actually, is this actually worth pondering, wasting my time, like that. And finally, uh, like uh, like this is that example. And finally, there are three scriptural reasons why we actually get become fearful. And when we know the scriptural reasons that why we actually become fearful, we every time we get some fear, or we are in anxiety, we can look back. So is it because of these reasons, and is it because my mind is giving some invalid and fake reasons, so that it can put me down, and it can beat me up. So we can ask. So Srimad Bhagavatam 11.12.37, this beautiful shloka, it says, bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshitah syat. What does it mean? It means that fear arises when we misidentify ourselves as the material body, and when we become so much absorbed in ourselves and not absorbed in Lord. At that time we actually becomes bodily, so the more and more we are bodily conscious and self conscious, the more and more we get fear. So uh, when we actually, the problem with the world is, the world relates more and more to the body and not to the soul. The more a person knows that I am a soul, and there is some super soul who is actually protecting me, who's actually guiding me, sheltering me, all these fake fear, fake emergencies that happens, that will immediately go away. Because we are constantly thinking about body, what is related to the body. Because that is why the most of the fear actually that comes in this place, like how I said, gradually, when you realize that, like, it definitely, it'll take some point of time for us to sit back and realize that, yes, this is what is actually happening, because I'm so much like absorbed in myself, and because I'm so much bodily conscious. I know that the actual fear, that is the actual thing that is happening, that's not fear, that is just there, right there, to because of the bodily consciousness that I have. And Srimad Bhagavatam says that, like, any person who's attached to this body, he's meant to have fear. He's actually meant to have fear, because he knows that the body and anything that is related with his body, it is always, it'll vanquish over time. Nothing is permanent. So that is why the fear thing that exists. So when he starts losing his own things, when his body starts dwindling, or when he actually something related to the body that happens, we start panicking. Actually, this has always been there. You see, this is the characteristics of the material world. Everything will be taken away at one point of a time. Even people who are wealthy, everything was taken away. Everything is basically perishable. But still, from the childhood, we have been brainwashed by the media that, yes, take care of your relationships, take care of your body, it will stay with you forever. Definitely we have to take care. It's not that we don't have to take care, but as soon as we think that, yes, this is my body, and this is, the people who are attached to me are, they will live with me forever. The things with which we are attached to, it will live with me forever. When we have that fake bond between us, that imaginary bond, that eternal bond, then the actual fear starts. So identification with the self is a very deep concept, which we slowly, gradually have to learn. And because of this, we actually lose focus. We lose focus from the eternal thing, that is our relationship with Krishna. And then all the things around the world, they start haunting us. So like uh, first thing is like how I said, bodily consciousness. It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam that Deha Patya Kalatradishu Atma Shaineshu Asatvati Tesham Pramatto Nidanam Pashyannapi na Pashyati. So it is said that when we are too attached to the body and things related to the body, at that time actually the actual fear starts. And soon, gradually, when we realize that yes, we are not our body, and we are our, we are soul, and things related to the soul is more important than the body, automatically, it is said that if we just deep inside, if we like realize this fact slowly, gradually, then at least half of our fear that we have in our day to day life, automatically it will vanquish. It might be as silly as some like some smallest of the small fears to the biggest of the big fears, like fear of death, fear of losing a losing some near and dear ones, and things like that. We can face those things very very boldly, very very maturely, if we have this come out of this bodily consciousness. And then Vinod Thakura, he says, he sings this very beautiful bhajan where he says that Smashana Sharira Mama Podi Arohi Be Bihanga Patangata Vihara Koribe Kukura Shrigala Saba Anadita Hoye Mahotsava Koribe Amar Ye Dehaloye. So he says that, how like um, um, smashana sharira mama podi, my, my body, ultimately it will be in this smashana, and all the insects, worms, everything will enjoy in my body at the end of the day. And dogs, jackals, everything, they'll see the dead body, they become very happy. It'll be like a Sunday feast for all of them. So this is the body actually. No, we have to take care of our body, I'm not saying that, but at the end of the day we have to realize that at the end of the day this body is going to just, it's going to ashes. So आहार निद्रा भयमैथुनं च सामान्यमेतद् पशुभिर्नराणां धर्मो हि तेषाम् अधिको विशेषो धर्मेण हीना पशुभिर्समाना. This is one most important reason why we are all fearful, because there is difference between humans and animals. And right now we are still in animal consciousness. So what is the animal consciousness? Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. We are just doing all these four things. If you see, repeatedly we are doing all these four things, but just in a better way. We are eating in the plate, and animals are eating in the on the ground, and we are sleeping on the bed. Animals are sleeping on the ground, and then we are defending, like we fight like cats and dogs. The verbal fight and things like that. And even the dogs, you see, they are just they bark at each others, and then they fight amongst each others. This is what is actually happening. And we have lost the core part, which is actually the dharma. And what is this dharma? It's not like Hindu, Muslim, Christians, not, no, no, not that dharma. The dharma is that the characteristic of the spirit soul, that I am a soul, Krishna is the super soul, who is our spirit, who is our true well-wisher, and I am his servant. So the more and more we connect to this bodily consciousness, and continue this cycle of eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and less we feed our soul, the less the more we feed our body and the less we feed our soul. At that time, actually, this the rate of the amount of fear in our self, it increases. The more and more you start feeding your soul by connecting yourself with the items of Krishna consciousness, you see automatically the amount of fear, it reduces. And I can give so many examples. I have added a couple of stories and examples to just inspire you and me, that how simple things in our life, how it matters so much. Because at the end of the day, right now, we might have small fears, but over a period of time, definitely we grow, and we get to a phase where we will have to face biggest of the big fears. And right now, if we don't pull up our socks and start feeding our soul, then we see like simple things that start affecting us. And instead of the goal, that is becoming happy even in this life and afterlife, we actually become more and more miserable. And that is when this Krishna consciousness things, it helps, wherein it makes our life much simpler, much easier, and reduces this fear and anxiety factor. And this is the actual difference, like how I said, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. The most important, this is all we have been doing in all the lives, in all the cat life, dog life, um, bird life, snake life, in all the lives that we have been in a previous life, we have been doing this. But right now we are in a phase where we have this human form of life where we can understand God. I couldn't make a dog enter this Zoom room and make him sit and understand. Even if you have a dog around it, I'm pretty sure it cannot understand. But I'm 100% sure that whatever I'm saying today, you can understand it, and you can, apply it in your life and become, one step more fearless than you were a day earlier. And like how I said, the difference is that we are not tapping our potential. We have unlimited potential to experience the higher, happiness of higher realm, that is the happiness at the level of a soul. But we are stuck here at the bodily consciousness, and focusing on this eating, sleeping, mating, defending. And that's why actually more and more we are, struggling. And it is said that man is more miserable than animals. Why? Because I can give you so many examples. Because see, like all these anxiety, fear, the cats and dogs, when they have uh, anxiety and fear like that, they just go and hide. For us there is no place to even hide. We have to face the world day in day out. We have to face the world. And like you see, the what do you say, these animals, they don't have something like sleeping pills and things like that. They sleep very happily. But humans have sleeping pills, and humans have these digital detox, that detox, this detox, and things like that. Animals, they're freely spending their life. They're much freer than us actually. They're not bound to the deadlines. They're not bound to the sleeping pills or any other. Almost all of us, we would have been taking some of the other pills, like the vitamin pills, or the vitamin B12 pills, or the iron pills, or so much. But these animals, they're much better than us actually in that way. But if you see, like there was a zoo in Chennai where I went. I saw that there were so many animals, and finally there was, do you want to know the most dangerous animal? It was written, and then when we went inside, it was a mirror. Basically, it showed that humans are the most dangerous animals. They don't, they can do such vast harm to the whole society, including our near and dear ones. It'll be, if you see, the most harm that is caused not by the external world, but it is given by the people who are near and dear to us. So the more and more we are focused on this animalistic activity, the more and more we become worser than animal, and the fear factor increases. That's why you see, the fear factor was, if it was at the level of 60-70% in the animals, it should be less in the humans. But if you see, the fear factor is 90%, 100%. Because you see, there is no animal that is doing suicide. There is no animal that is taking drugs. But it's humans who are doing it, because we are falling lower than the animal category. Why? Again and again, because of the bodily consciousness. The more and more we are relating to our body, the more and more, we are relating to this eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and not going above the body to feed the soul. The more and more actually we are getting trapped in this, cycle of anxiety. And one of my friend, like how I said, she was saying that, like when I was talking to her about this, things, that how this animals are better than humans. Because she was saying that, yeah, we all are addicted, to so many things. People are addicted to tea, coffee, alcohol, and so many things. But you see animals, if you see dog, today you give biscuits, they'll eat. Tomorrow you give something else, they will eat. And they can change themselves. But we humans, because of the addictions, people, they take up to a wrong path, and they end up in suicide and things like that. So it's so scary actually. So the important point is, we have to come above this animal consciousness. That is, we have to get above it. Definitely we are doing all these eating, sleeping, mating, defending, but now it's time for us to think about how we have to actually come above this animal consciousness and come to the consciousness of the human being. That is to realize, who am I, who is Krishna, how to connect to Krishna in a ways that scripture has mentioned, so that we become more and more fearless. And one example I would like to give you, that there was a person who was actually, finally he got to know that there were some gems in the in Godavari river. So he went and he was taking the stones. One stone he took, two stone he took, three stone he took, and he was just he took, oh, this is stone, he threw, this is stone, he threw. Next he got a stone, he threw, and next he got a gem. He got a gem, and then he just threw it, because he was throwing the stones, with the within no time, without his own knowledge, he just threw the gem thinking that this is the stone. And similarly, this is actually our life is. We got the dog body, cat body, bird body, aquatic fish body, all the body, and we have been wasting that because we don't have consciousness, good right amount of consciousness. And now we have this human form of life. And now also, if we still engage in better eating, better sleeping, better mating, better defending, then you are just throwing that gem which you have in hand. So I just felt that this example is so so nice, so that it so many of us, we know that we have to focus on our spirituality, but yet we are still stuck with our job, we are still stuck with our relationships, we are still stuck with the basic things. I'm pretty sure, like, we have to deal with it, there is no doubt, but we have to come above it by prioritizing spirituality. This is what I want to share. So Srila Prabhupada would always say that human life is a very precious gift of the Lord, and we must use it for cultivating God consciousness. So this is the human life which is so precious. So let's use it. And finally, we have a gap between expectation and reality. So the first thing was the bodily consciousness, and the second reason is the gap between expectation and reality. The more and more we have expectation, we have control over the reality. We have control over our expectation, we don't have control over our reality. The more we expect from us, from others, the more the fear we have, and the more we have to get through this anxiety. And that's why we see, the more we expect from our near and dear ones, the relatives, our friends, our family, and especially our own self. And when we cross the borderline of reality, the gap between this expectation and reality, that is actually the stress. The less and less we have the gap between this expectation and reality, the more and more we can actually become less stressful, and less, we can live in a anxiety free world. So um finally, actually, like how I said, uh, this is a very very beautiful bhajan. It is said that the more and more bhoga we have, it is said that bhogi rogi abhayam kulechuta kulechuti abhayam. What is that? Somebody who is a bhogi, like somebody who's enjoying a lot, he's fearing that, oh, when will I lose this enjoyment? You would have all experienced. Let's say, we get a good job, we all fear that, oh my god, when will they throw me away? Let's say, we get a good iPhone, let's say, we always are fearful, oh, somebody steal this phone. We are always fearful. So when we get something that to enjoy in this world, we are always fearful, oh, when will I lose this, like that. And then when somebody has a lot of month, kulechutibhyam, when somebody has a lot of wealth, he's wondering, oh, well, will I have a successor? How will this wealth go to the next person? Or, if you see, it is said, it is a surprising fact. So why, I mean, it like, I want to this is a very very practical thing, apart from the spiritual aspect that we are discussing. It is said that most of the banks are rich today because people have stored good amount of money, and they have not, assigned a next person who will actually take over that money. We will have, in banks, usually we will have a person, it's called as assignee. And most of the times, people forget to assign this, and in no time, uh, uh, because it's not always the old age that leads to death. In sometimes, because of the accidents and other health reasons, people die over even when they're young. And because they have not given any assignees, that whole amount, it goes back to the bank, and that's how, the banks are becoming richer and richer. So that's when, people earn so much of money, but at the end of the day, they cannot even carry one single rupee when they cross this bhavasagar of this life ocean. So I'm not saying we should not earn money, but we should earn money and use it wisely, and not get stuck with the cycle of earning money, like how I said, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, so much that we forget about our, feeding the soul, and get in stuck in the cycle of fear forever, and just die die like this. So finally, like the first reason was bodily consciousness, second reason was the more we have expectation, and the less, the more the gap is between expectation and reality, the more we are stressful. And finally, the power of time. You all would have heard, like, when we go to our grannies, grandfather, grandmother, they always say that, I wish I had more time to live, I wish I had more time to, relax, enjoy, spend some time. So right now we are in a stage where, if we are just um not knowing the value of time, if we just waste time in all these shorts, youtube youtube shorts and Instagram reels and other things like that, and not use this time for feeding our soul and connecting with Krishna, then when the antyakalicha mami, when slowly we are all becoming older, when we become old, we all, it's all the regret. And the regret leads to more and more fear. It is said that there was a French actress, and her name was Brigitte, and she was so influencing that her stories was mentioned in the schools and colleges, because she was that bold and she was that fearless. And finally, when she was at around 80 years of age, she was so fearful that she locked herself in the room, and she was not wanting to come out of the room, thinking that yes, if I come out, maybe something will happen to me and I'll die like that. So this is actually the thing that, most, even the powerful of the powerful people, they fear time, because when the time passes, whatever things are in our control, that also goes out of our control. And you may say, Mataji, you're from long time, you're talking about fear, please tell us how to cope with this fear. So yeah, now we will discuss about few, practical things that we actually we can deal with, like two aspects I'll share. One is practical aspect, another one is like the timeless wisdom from the shastras. So uh, you know there was one story that how this human being, funnily, we got 80 to 100 years of age. It is said that what do you say, a monkey, god created when God created monkey, the monkey, God said, okay, I'll give you 20 years of life, and monkey said, oh my God, it is too much, please give me half. So God gave him 10 years. And when god created dog, sorry, God created dog, God gave him 40 years of age. And then, like, dog said, oh my God, 40 years bahut zyada ho gaya. Then God said, okay, half of it, you take 20 years. And then when God made donkeys, so he gave 60 years. Donkeys, they work like asses. And then donkey said, no, 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 60 years. And then God gave donkeys 30 years. And finally, God created man, and he gave 20 years. And God said, this is not at all sufficient, I want to enjoy more, I need more ages. And then God said, okay, whatever the years that was left, like 10 years from the 20 years from the dog, 10 years from the dog, 30 years from the donkey, 10 years from the monkey, everything, it will get added up and let you get 80 to 100 years of age, like that. So that's why you see, even now, if you see the first 20 years, we live like a human being. We are like relaxing, happy, playing around, eating good food and things like that. And after that, after 20 years, next 30 years, like donkeys, we have to slog. Have you noticed? Like, no matter what, where we are, like donkeys, we have to slog. And finally, in the last 20 years, in the next 20 years, we have to save, like how the dog, it protects, like that, we have to keep saving things. Oh, save, 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 like that. And finally, in the last 10 years, like a monkey, we keep jumping, like you see, like people, they start jumping from one house to another house, from one son's house to another son's house, like that. So this is actually, to be very frank, this is actually our life that is happening. So like so let us start discussing about other aspects of the how to actually deal with the this fear. Just 1 minute. Yeah. So like in Krishna consciousness, actually, if you see any devotee who's very happy, when you go and ask them, like, for last 10 years, 20 years, who are very happy, so they will share you these practical tips, which is actually, in general, very helpful. So let's say, like, somebody is preparing for an exam. So you cannot, control, you can control how you prepare, but you cannot control how your evaluator evaluates the exam, like how you get the marks. Similarly, whatever we deal in our life, it is like that only. We have the control over what we can do, and not the control over what others react. So the most of the anxiety that comes in our life is because how others react. And the less and less, the more and more, we connect to Krishna, the less and less we care about what others think of us, and less this anxiety and this fear of what will happen of the results, it will reduce. And This is one of the one primary aspect. And then second practical aspect is that every time we are going to do something, we should always, the local the mentality that we have been taught is either you win or you lose, but actually it is not like that. Either you win or you learn. So when we have this learning mentality, so we will not be fearful of the failure that we get, because we know the more and more, if we win, that's good, we will go to the next step. If we fail, then that is still good, because we learn something better, we become a better version of ourselves, and then we step ahead to the next phase of our life. So we should always, somewhere we can make a note of it, and then whenever we are going through these phases of our life where there is a win or lose, or do or die situation, we should always remember, no, it's not always do or die, it is, you know do or learn, it is win or learn. We should always remember that. And finally, like how I said, when we are so much in me consciousness, mama and mameti, that is when actually the fear comes. When we start, committing to do good work, let's say you want to do, you want to learn you're learning right now to become a doctor. You want to crack the exam of MBBS and things like that. And then day in day out you're struggling, but instead of struggling, if you think, okay, let me become a doctor so that I can serve the people around me very nicely. So many corrupt doctors are there, let me become a good doctor and let me serve the humanity, let me serve the people around me. Then that service attitude will reduce the fear. And this is not just in one field, in any field you're working, whichever your field, like let's say you're working in IT, or let's say whatever activities you're doing, the more and more you reduce the I factor and increase the V factor, at that time you see automatically the fear reduces. And and the that enthusiasm, that excitement to serve others, that excitement to go ahead and help others, that comes in picture. And when that comes in picture, automatically the fear things reduces. Because you see, like as a person, to be very frank, I'm an introvert. And then initially I was an introvert, and then I was so fearful of public speaking and things like that. And then when I came to Krishna consciousness, I realized that, you know the more and more I gain knowledge, the more and more I have to share it with others. And when I gained this knowledge, automatically that fear of speaking, it reduced. And I realized that I could go ahead, I could go ahead and give, simple lectures. I could go ahead and distribute books, talk to people, help them, help myself. That's when I realized that public speaking, which was actually fearful, I could overcome it just because I went over that I consciousness to the we consciousness. And it even helped me, not just in the spirituality, it helped me in the professional life also. Because now very easily I can give, like very easily, past few years I could give seminars, I could give presentations. And I could crack so many interviews which others couldn't, because I got this confidence that yes, because of my work, so many, the more I work, the more I want to serve the humanity. So simple things, like let's say your job is bothering you. It's not, you are fearful of your job, losing your job. You can go ahead and think that yes, because of this job I'll get some Lakshmi, and I'll use that Lakshmi in, doing some annadan, feeding some people. In this way, I will find myself a higher potential, wherein I will, connect myself more to that higher potential, that the lower aspect of fear it reduces. And finally, now, like these were some, okay, one other practical aspect is the how to, most of the people, they focus on the circle of concern. What is the circle of concern? The things which we cannot change. There's some things which we can change, there's some things which we cannot change. And whenever you whenever you feel stuck in life, or you feel, yourself in a situation where where you're in anxiety or fear or something like that, you can break through. You can, just sit back and write down what you can write down. So this is the thing which, because of which this is giving me stress, because this is giving me fear. And then what are the things that are in my control, and what are the things that are actually not in my control, that I cannot do anything. And what is in your control, you just list how to act it. And what is not in your control, that is definitely in the control of Lord, who is the creator, who is the control of the whole universe. So you can pray for it. So the small activity, this is a very very, practical aspects I'm discussing. So whenever you go through some difficulties, just write down things of control, things of not control. Whatever is things of control, you pray for it and do it. Whatever things are not in control, you say that, Krishna, I'm not the controller, you are the controller. You'll perfectly control it. I know whatever you do, it's for my well-being, so please do it. And when you hand over that control from I to, Krishna, him, then you see most of the fear automatically reduces. And finally, the wisdom from Bhagavad Gita is that, Lord Krishna, he always says, many people, they don't know Bhagavad Gita, but they know this one factor. What is that factor? That is karmanya vadikareshu mafaleshu kadashana. So the more and more we give the best to the work we do, whatever activity it is, spiritual, material, personal, whatever activity it is, you give your best and leave the rest to Krishna. Always, if you have this attitude, definitely it will take some time to, practice it. Like how I said, this session is mainly slowly coming out of the fear, like from what we discussed. Like initially we discussed about bodily consciousness, then we discussed about the gap between expectation reality, then slowly we discussed about the power of time, and now we are discussing practical and spiritual aspects. So all these things are, like, it's not a one or zero thing that tomorrow you become fearless. No, it is gradual thing. You can list down whatever points we are discussing. Slowly you can see how I can incorporate this practical aspects in my life and gradually become fearless and come to a point where you become so much fearless that nothing in life can shake you, even including death. That is what I have seen in the people practicing spirituality around me. I can give you so many examples. And yeah, like how I said, the first learning, like we'll take another 5 to 10 minutes just to discuss about the aspects, practical, the wisdom from the scriptures, and then we will like, if you have some questions, we'll deal with it. So I'll not take much time. So um now, like how I said, the first aspect that we are getting from Bhagavad Gita is karmanya vadikareshu mafaleshu kadachana. That is, you give your best and then leave the rest to Krishna. You can always remember this quote. And so many hardships in my life I just could overcome just by this quote. Because so many interviews that I gave in my job, or so many times when I thought, okay, I might lose this job, and so many times unnecessary fear was entering my life and it was eating my life. At that time I used to always tell this to myself, that yeah, just give your best and then leave the rest to Krishna, and Krishna knows what is best for you. So, and it's not just saying it, you have to give that, like how I said, you have to give that what do you say, control to Krishna, and Krishna will create magics and miracles in your life. Because Krishna, he's actually waiting that when will this little girl will why is she struggling on her own, why can't she give that control to me, I will take care, I will make it better. So Krishna is waiting to help you. But you and me, we are dealing with the things in our own way, that we think that yes, I can fix this. The I can fix this mentality, if we give up, and if we think that this is the best I can do, I'll do, keeping in mind that I'm taking complete shelter of Krishna. That is the thing. And the second most important thing that helped me personally is the concept of studying shastras and hearing the lectures. Why, I'll tell you. First thing, I mean, the shastra aspect I'll explain you, but what helped me, I'll tell you. The more and more you study shastras, as simple as Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, as simple as reading one shloka per day. I was not even understanding anything in when I initially started reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. I was not understanding anything. I mean, some of you might be in that situation even right now. But I realized that over a period of time, let's say over a period of like 6 months, 1 year, I realized that the more and more I mean, I was continuously I was studying the shastras, I was hearing the Srila Prabhupada lectures. The more and more I realized that without my own knowledge, my brain had gained that capacity to decide between right wrong, to decide between where I have to invest my energy and where I should not, to decide between what is actually fearful, what is fearless. So many things that are affecting us. Job people affect us, our boss affect us, relationships, near and dear ones affect us, our family people, our extended family people, they affect us, and then our own body affect us, and the situations around us, they affect us. And I realized that so many things that were putting me in anxiety when I initially before I started reading the scriptures, over a period of time, because I was journaling, I realized that over a period of time, even though when I was reading the shlokas, I was not understanding the purport. It is shaping my memory, it is shaping my brain in such a way that I'm getting that cognitive knowledge without my own knowledge. That is why when I came here to USA, I used to go to the universities and libraries, and I was surprised. they have kept Srimad Bhagavatam, they have kept Bhagavad Gita, and they have kept the benefits of reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. And I was so much in surprise that, we are having all these luxuries of having Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam in our like in our own in India so easily. You go to any ISKCON and ask Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, people will be so ecstatic to give you Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. And and here in the foreign world, people are, relishing it like a, like some, like some big treasure. And I realized at that time that yes, whatever the experiences that I was going through, it was not just for me, but it was a universal experience. The more and more we read Shastra and hear from the great acharyas like Srila Prabhupada, the more and more, without our own knowledge, we will develop that aspect of fearlessness, and automatically the anxiety part reduces. And now I can confidently say that I have the least of the anxieties, even in the worst of the worst situations. Definitely I won't say I'm not, like, I'm fearless. I do have fear. And slowly taking the shelter of scriptures, taking shelter of Krishna, I'm overcoming it. But the most important thing that helped me in, reducing this aspect of fear and anxiety is, studying scriptures. So if at all you are not, making this like act of studying scriptures regular, so my humble request, please make it. It is not at all big, as simple as 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. I used to go to my office, and then first 5 minutes I used to read and start. It was as simple as that, and that has helped me so much. And like this shloka, it says that how, the more and more we hear, the more and more our heart will get cleansed by the process of devotional service. And the more and more, we don't we we don't need an external thing to satisfy us. We just need the aspect of spirituality to satisfy us. And we don't have to, look for external things to actually gain validation or satisfy us. And then when our heart becomes pure, things will become more and more clear. Right now our heart is so dirty, so we don't know where we have to invest our energy, our time in. And the more and more we by hearing Srila Prabhupada lectures, by reading scriptures, the heart becomes clear. The more and more, the parda, it gets cleared off, and we get the clarity. And Srimad Bhagavatam, it describes that the more and more we hear about Krishna, it is said that, long travel, a traveler, after traveling a long distance, he feels, when he comes to home, when he feels that sigh of relief. You would have experienced, let's say you traveled for a long time, let's say 1 week, you went out for trip, for yatra, and when you come home, you feel that, oh my god, thank god I'm home. So in midst of all the difficulties that we are going through, when we hear Krishna Katha, it will give you that sense of feeling home. It has happened with me so many times. It has happened with so many Vaishnavis. They come to me and they say that, like, when I hear about Krishna, I feel like more grounded, more peaceful, and more more calmer than the difficulties that I was going through. That's why we see the moment we enter into temple, because people are chanting there, hearing there, reading there, continuous discourses are happening, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. The moment we enter the temple, we can feel that vibe. And we can make that vibe in our own rooms, in our home, by reading daily, by chanting daily, by hearing daily. So this is what I was trying to say. And because, we may admit or we may not admit, we all have some centers. Like, center means something which we strongly define with. For example, somebody may strongly define with money, somebody may strongly, for somebody money is sweeter than honey, like that, and money is everything for him. And for somebody, relationships are everything, for somebody job is everything, like that. So everybody has a center, and when that center is shaken, automatically, like people will get crazy. Like, say, let's say stock market crashes, people will go crazy because they have put invested money in that. Let's say somebody in the near and dear relationship, they hurt us, they trouble us, our center it just breaks up, our center is shaken. So why am I saying this point? Because we are having, unwanted centers right now. When we have Krishna as our center, at the true well-wisher, nothing can shake. Nothing, that when our center is strong, nothing can shake. And then, the deeper aspect of fearlessness that comes in us. So you can question yourself, not, maybe not now, you can write down this question, you can ask, what is my center? And then slowly you can see, how can I come out of this, a temporary center, and get into the actual center, which is Krishna, so that I become fearless, so that I become happy. So I mean, definitely we all want to be happy. So like this, like the more and more, no matter whom we are, the more and more we hear, and the more and more we read scriptures, automatically the effects of our life that is actually troubling us, it reduces gradually. Like how I said, the practical aspect is it will shape your mind in such a way that it will help you. And the immediate aspect is, whenever you're going through the difficulties, just right in the time, you just read a shloka, you just hear a Srila Prabhupada lecture, you can, you can feel that Krishna is helping you via that shloka, Krishna is helping you via that lecture. So the more and more you go through, whenever you go through these scenarios, just instead of what do you say, what do you do when we go through some difficulties? We mindlessly eat. Have you noticed, we mindlessly eat things, or we mindlessly scroll. So instead of doing these things, you take shelter of scriptures or take shelter of Srila Prabhupada lectures, and you see the difference yourself. You'll come out, when you go, when you go through 100 YouTube reels, and when you come out, you feel more frustrated. I'm pretty sure we all have experience. But when you at least read one shloka, I'm not asking you read 100 shloka, read one shloka, just open Bhagavad Gita, any shloka, and read it when you're going through these difficulties, and you can see, you'll come out, you'll come out less fearless and less in anxiety. And it is said that whenever somebody is reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Yamaraj also comes and sits there. So Yamaraj is taking a note of you. So let's say we don't know like at what point of time we give up our body. Let's say in some point of time we give up our body also. Yamaraj will identify that, yeah, this person, I saw that she was reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, she was chanting. So Yamaraj will, take us away from the path of hell to the back to the path of, spiritual world. So at least in this way, it will help us. So please, next time, please, more and more read and hear, and let Yamaraj see all of us at least, so that we can overcome this fear of death. And finally, like about chanting, you all know. So like how I said, first thing is about hearing. It relieves fatigue and it connects us to an eternal center. So today you ask yourself the question, what is the center? And then fix your center. And this second thing is, here, यस्यां वैश्रूयमानायं कृष्णे परमपौरुषे भक्तिरुत्पादयते पुंसा शोकमोहाभया अपः. This is one of my favorite shloka, because it says that when we, the more and more we take shelter of Krishna, especially in the form of hearing, so what happens? Shoka moha bhaya apaha. I'm not saying this, Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna himself is saying this, that the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness reduces. So, whatever is given in Srimad Bhagavatam is that it is 10% true and it will come true. So, like how I said, initially I said, and now I'm giving you the proof that I'm not saying this, the Bhagavatam is saying that the more and more you take up this act of devotional service, the more and more, especially hearing and reading, the act of this lamentation, that is thinking, oh, why did I do this, oh, why did this happen to me, all those things, the time waste reduces, and then fearfulness also reduces. And second remedy, which we all know, but which we are not taking more shelter of, is chanting the holy name of Krishna. That is, the power of holy name is, like how I said, it cleanses the heart. When we chant loudly, hear clearly. Only two rules: chant loudly and hear clearly. So whenever you find yourself in a very difficult situation, just enter a washroom or enter a place where nobody is there, and chant loud enough that you hear. This is the quick remedy that we get, and it has helped me so many times. Chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and chanting of simple things like Narsimha Stotra, you find yourself immensely coming out of the difficulties. So like, let's say next time you're in an interview facing, and you are having an anxiety, or you're writing some exam, or you're going for a talk or giving a presentation, or because of the big fears, like somebody is going through some difficulties in life, you know you're going through the difficulty in life, then just pray and chant. That's it. That is why you see devotees are most of the times, the in general, the crux of devotees who are happy, you see, whatever happens they can chant. That's why I put this slide when I said that if it is celebration, they chant; if it is success, they chant; if it is tragedy, they chant. In general, people do know, in material world, what they do, whatever happens, they party. Something bad happens, party; good happens, party, so that they get over that hangover. But for us, it is not like that. For us, whatever happens, we just chant and dance. And we chant and dance, and then we come out of that difficulty. Or even if we are celebrating, we celebrate more by chanting and and dancing. And finally, the examples of fearlessness is that, Prabhupada's example is that Prabhupada, when he was going in a flight, actually there was a, big turbulence, you can imagine. And people, they declared in the flight that the flight might not be able to land. And there is an evidence of, crashing, that they announced that in the flight. And everybody were like panicking, and they were not knowing actually what to do. But Prabhupada was here calmly chanting. And then he knew that whatever happens at the end of the day, it's because of the will of the Lord. And once we know this, once we, from theory, when we get it to practical, that, once we, you digest this fact that whatever happening in my life, it is because of the, will of the Lord. That's it. Nothing in the world can shake you. Not your friends, not your family, not the job, not any of the natural calamities, not nothing, not even death can shake you, nothing can shake you. Because once we, just digest this fact that whatever is happening in my life, it is completely because of the will of Krishna, and Krishna knows what is best for me. That's it. This one statement, whenever we go through difficulties, we have to go back to this statement, and we have to take more and more shelter of Krishna. And then you can see yourself, just in no time, it's like boom, all your fearfulness and difficulties, I mean, anxiety will reduce. And second, then what happened is, yeah, and then finally somehow they could come out of the turbulence, they could get down. And people were like, they wanted to know what is like Prabhupada feeling now. Is he feeling like happy now because they got a new life? What is he fearing? And people got, I mean, Prabhupada got down, and he was calm, he was peaceful. And people were thinking, what will Prabhupada say? And Prabhupada told, how far is the ISKCON from here? Like that. So Prabhupada was always cool like this, and he always taught us to be cool. And the second thing that happened is, there was a Naxalite attack that was happening. Actually, this was happening in Mumbai. And at that point of time, when the Pandal festival was happening, this is again when Prabhupada was there. People, they came up with guns, they came up with, they were throwing, so many things at the other people and things like that. And Prabhupada did not shake. He did not even move from the pandal even an inch, and then he was chanting so loudly and hearing the mantra so loudly in the mic, that those people who were actually Naxalites, they couldn't stop. I mean, they couldn't face the person who was so fearless. And finally they came to Prabhupada, and then they spoke to him about how they were not happy with this Pandal festival, and then how Prabhupada finally convinced them, and then they went back. All these amazing stories that you can imagine, Naxalites attacking and then Prabhupada convincing. Why am I sharing you? Because the power of holy name, we might not believe it, but it is very, very stronger. So next time we face ourselves in difficult situation, you can loudly chant whenever. That's why we see somebody is in difficulties, somebody is having a bad health, somebody is going through a family crisis, some relationship crisis or job crisis, whatever. The only thing we say to others is, we request them to chant, and we chant for them, we chant extra rounds for them, because chanting can do miracles. The more and more you have faith in chanting, the more and more it works for you. And finally, this process of, the process of, I mean, this whole concept of death, and how to overcome this death of ourselves and death of our near and dear ones, which is the, to the topmost fear. If you see, like, Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, he is one of the topmost, ISKCON leader. He had cancer, and when he was going through his life, every day, he knew that in very soon he is going to die. And every day he used to look at the sunrise, and he used to tell that, oh, one more day in this world. When will I go back to Krishna? He was excited. He was cheerful. And there are so many stories wherein, one I'll give you just one material story and one spiritual story, and we'll end. So the material story was that, this is like one of the father of one of my friend. And she just initially started chanting, and she was, like, when her father was quitting his body, she was asking him, please chant, please chant. But you know what, he was a cloth weaver, they weave the cloth. So he was not able to chant, but he was able to just weave. So he was just, how they do weaving. So in his hand, he was, at the time of death, he was just weaving, and then he left his body. So then there is another story wherein, there was a devotee who was going through a serious health crisis, and the devotee was about to, give a, the devotee had, gone through um, so many. You can search actually, this I on my own I saw this after coming to USA here. The name of the devotee is Agni Dev Prabhu. So when you go and search Agni Dev Prabhu's like last moment video, so you can see like Agni Dev Prabhu whole life he gave his life for kirtan. If you've not heard Agnidev Prabhu's Kirtan, you have to go back and hear. He has a wonderful album of Kirtan which will give you goosebumps. And whole life he just spent in Kirtan. That is chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and doing Vaishnav bhajans. And then at the end of the life, you know, he had a brain stroke. Okay. And then the doctor said that he will no longer live. And you decide when he was there on the ventilator. They said that you let us know when to remove the ventilator. After removing the ventilator, after 1 hour, he will just go back. That he will leave his body like that. And we few of us we got to know, and then they invited us to chant for him, and we went there. And when we were chanting for him, his brain is not working, his body is not working, but when we were chanting loudly, his hands are tapping. You can imagine, when we are chanting Hare Krishna, his hands are tapping. And we were like in shock. And whatever difficulties he had in his life, he just, at that point of time we could see on his face. If you see that video, you could see when we are chanting, and his face was, he was struggling for his life. And soon after they removed the ventilator, his face became very calm, very peaceful. And then soon after hearing that chanting, he is tapping his fingers, and like that, he left his body. And then there was another devotee who, at the end of his life, when he was leaving his body, he gave a thumbs up. He showed, he gave a thumbs up, and he said, he screamed loudly. This is again, these videos are there in the YouTube. He screamed loudly that yes, this process of Krishna consciousness works. You will have a better afterlife. He said that, and he died. You can imagine how are people dying. They're dying, out of fear, out of, so many difficulties. And if you see a materialistic person dying there, if you see their face, it's almost in the state of shock. But a spiritual person, he's first of all, he's not fear of death, because like how I said, so many examples I can give you, wherein the moment they realize that they have less time because of the cancer or any other disorder, they thought that death is just a change of service. They were so confident that nothing can happen, like after death. To me, it's just a same change of service. Now I'm serving here, after death I'll serve somewhere else. We have to actually come to a point wherein we have to make terms with the death. So I'll just end with this, that fear is unhealthy, but there is some healthy fear. That is, what is that fear? What is that healthy fear? That healthy fear is wasting your time. You should always be fearful of wasting your time. You should always be fearful of wasting this human form of life. You should always be fearful of forgetting Krishna, becoming distracted from devotion. Like how I said, like how a person was throwing the stones and thinking that the gem is also a stone, he threw it like that. We should not waste this human form of life. And finally, just summarizing, that there are three causes of fears: bodily consciousness, and the gap between expectation and reality, and power of time. And finally, because one healthy fear is all this fear of forgetting Krishna, losing this human form of life, not the fear of death, but lose fear of wasting this human form of life. So the more and more we take shelter of Krishna, and like how I said, practice chanting and hearing sincerely and seriously. I'm not asking you, you increase your rounds or increase your time of hearing, but at least whatever you're doing, do it sincerely. If you have not been doing, please, my humble request is to chant few rounds, and at least read 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever permits you, and it will definitely help you. This one I can vouch you, because it is because of my experience. And finally, slowly, when you come out of bodily consciousness and start feeding your soul and come to that, the transcendental state, you can overcome the biggest of the big fear, like the fear of death also. So it is said that with faith and determination, when we take up this process of bhakti, abhayam sattva samshuddhi, true fearlessness arises from spirituality, purity, and connection with Krishna. So this is how we see even Arjuna, finally, when he heard from Krishna, he became fearless, he became free of anxiety. And then he took shelter of Krishna, he became peaceful, stable, and he won the Kurukshetra war. And this life, it's a war for us, because we have to get over this dukhalayam and go back to Krishna and live a happy life with him, and we can, very very smoothly, very very happily, without anxiety, without fear, we can pass this human form of life just by taking shelter of Krishna. Sorry for taking extra time. If you have some questions, we can discuss. Otherwise, we will end here. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.